Watch this video till the end because I'm going to give you a little story about why or how I know that our soul never uh, really dies. We just keep on moving and moving and moving. Of course, I know this, but I'm going to give you a little story regardless. So stay tuned. Stay till the end. All right. I There was once a woman that I knew. Okay, her name for uh, privacy, reasons, I'm going to call her Mary. Uh, she used to live maybe about 3, 4 blocks down the street from me. Okay. Now, I used to walk every morning and sometimes even in the afternoon by her house just because I like walking. So some days, Mary would be sitting outside in her front porch, and as she would be sitting in her front porch, she would be feeding the birds if it was a nice sunny day or a warm day, or she would be, just chilling and just relaxing and, enjoying her environment. Now, sometimes when I would walk by, she would offer me even breakfast sometimes, which I never had. But our conversation was really, "Hi, how are you? My name is Mary. What's yours? The weather is nice. What a beautiful neighborhood." Stuff like that, right? So we never really had a deep conversation ever. Now, as I was walking one morning, I noticed that Mary wasn't outside. She generally was out there every day. This time she wasn't around. Second time she wasn't around. Third day she wasn't. So this went on for maybe like a couple of weeks. I hadn't seen Mary outside. So now at this point, I started uh, being a little concerned, if you may, right? I wanted to know what happened to Mary. So one day, her son and her daughter were outside, and I asked them. I said, "Hey, where's Mary? Where's your mom?" I said, "Oh, she's in the hospital." "But thanks for asking," they said to me, "because as a matter of fact, she's been asking about you." Now, that seemed a little peculiar to me. I said, "She's been asking about me? Like this lady, I barely even knew. I just, it's like a hi, bye, you know, conversations were not deep at all." And I knew for a fact that she wasn't following me on any of my social media platforms because she was not into that kind of stuff. She would rather just sit outside and sometimes just read a book, right? Or her newspaper or something like that. So it was a little, peculiar to me. I said, "Okay, well, that's fine. Tell her I said hello, and that's all." I wasn't planning on going to the hospital to visit her because really I had no deep connection with her, right? Now, another week or so passed by, and I see the sister, or the daughter, I should say, outside, which was the gentleman's sister that I was speaking to as well. And she said, "Hey, by the way, my mom is here, and she would really love it for you to come in and say hello." She actually uh, expressed her real, what do you call it? She really wanted me to go there. Her desire, I should say. She expressed her real desire for me to go in. I said, "Okay, that's fine. I'll come in." It was a nice hot sunny day, I remember, and it was around noontime when I was walking by. So I said, "Okay, that's fine." So I walked into Mary's house. Of course, they had her right as soon as you opened the door. The living room would greet you, and she was on a bed, laying down in the living room. TV was on. Her son was sitting there, and her daughter, of course, was the one that helped me come in. As soon as she saw me, she was very, very skinny at this point. She was an older lady, of course, and you could see that she was weak. She sees me at the door and calls me, says, "Danny, Danny, come on in." She knows me by Danny, which that's my other name. So she says, "Danny, Danny, come on in." I walked. She says, please have a seat beside me. There was a chair right beside her bed, right? I sat down. I said, "Hi, Mary. How are you doing?" She says, "Danny, can I hold your hand?" I said, "Sure, by all means." And she's holding my hand, right? And as I give her my hand, she was actually squeezing it pretty tight, like she didn't want me to go anywhere. So I said, "Mary, how are you?" And she told me about her pains and all that stuff. And then she asked me if I wanted some water for whatever reason, because it was a nice hot day. Like to take with me maybe a bottle of water, or maybe a glass of water there. And I said, "Mary, I'm fine. I'll be okay. Besides, I don't live too far, so I can go home and have water. Not a big deal." But it surprised me that she was more concerned about me than the other way around. After all, she was the one in her deathbed, literally. Anyway, long story short, what happened was, as she was squeezing my hand, she says, "Danny, I got something to tell you." I said, "What?" She says, "You and I go back a very, very long time." Now, at this point, she's looking at me straight in the eyes. And for the first time, as I'm looking at her, I quickly realized, it just came to me, because I get these automatic downloads sometimes, it just came to me that I've known this person, or this soul, I should say, for a very long time. I didn't know Mary as a body, but I knew her, the real her, for a very long time. And she says we go back a very, very long time. And the minute she said that, that's the exact moment that I had that download. So she says, "Yes, do you remember some of it? Like, we go so far back." And I'm looking at her, and I said, "Yes, Mary, you're right. You and I do go back a very, very long time." So she wanted to express that feeling to me. She wanted me to know that this was not her first time in this physical reality. She said a few other things too, which I'm going to skip, but she literally made me understand that she's known me for a very, very long time. Now, you see, what happens is, just before somebody dies, what happens is their soul leaves their body multiple times. As a matter of fact, I've done videos on this, and I've had discussions with other people as well that are in their deathbeds, and their souls actually leave. And they don't leave permanently, they just go out, they get advice, they get direction, right, from their spirit guides or from their other loved ones on the other side. And literally, they come back and forth. They're in two different worlds. So in one of her outings out of her body, she realized on the other side that she's known me forever. Why? Because she connected with the real me. She connected with my higher self, right? And there's no masking anything over there. It's all flat out, straight out. So sometimes you see what happens is they do this because they don't want to be in pain, first of all. So when you see somebody that is dying, okay, I know it's painful to watch, but understand that they, in moments of pain, they're not in their body. They've actually left. Even though their body is moving around and it's doing its natural stuff, they're not there to suffer, okay? They've already, gotten out of their body, and they're just doing their stuff. And then they come back when maybe their body is a little more relaxed or something like that. But this happens all the time. People come to your life for a reason, okay? And sometimes these soul contracts that we have, maybe we've been with these people for a short period of time in this physical reality. Maybe we've been with them for a very long time. It doesn't matter. They still have a role to play. For example, in Mary's case, her role was what? Hi, bye, this and that, no real connection. But then on her deathbed, here's the connection. This is where she knew and I knew that we went back for millennia, right? Which again, what does that tell you? It tells you that you don't die. You go, you come back, you change form, you change uh, genders, you change whatever, you just go and come back for what? For the experience or for whatever reasons. And sometimes you might bump into the same two people, sometimes you might not bump into the same people. It all depends on your soul's evolution and what you want to do. So be nice to people around you because they all have a role to play, and you have a role to play in their life too. And yes, our soul never dies. We keep on going, coming until we finally, one day had enough of this 3D reality and we just permanently stay in a different dimension. So I wanted to share that story with you. And if any of you have had similar experiences, please share them or please let me know what kind of experiences you've had, right? And on that note, I do have memberships here as well, so make sure to check that out. Okay, feel free to do so. And until then, no matter what you do, be the greatest you, love and light to all, and always shine bright. And yes, you never, ever die. Literally. Bye for now.